I will now be presenting my phylogeny project over the species Octopus vulgaris, more commonly known by its common name, the common octopus. The common octopus is in the kingdom Animalia, and there are certain criteria an organism must meet in order to be classified in the kingdom Animalia. The first criteria is having a cell membrane. After that criteria is met, the next criteria is having a nuclear membrane. The next criteria after having a nuclear membrane is not being a single-celled organism, but rather a multicellular organism. And after these first three criteria are met, the species can be classified in the kingdoms Fungi, Plantae, or Animalia. Due to the fact that the common octopus lacks a chitin cell wall and a cellulose cell wall, but it is a mouth eater, it is then classified in the kingdom Animalia. Now these are the phylums of the kingdom Animalia. The common octopus is classified in the phylum Mollusca. And just like there are criteria that must be met in order for an organism to be classified in the kingdom Animalia, there are criteria that must be met for an organism to be classified in the phylum Mollusca. The first criteria is being in the kingdom Animalia, followed by having true tissue, then by having bilateral symmetry. The next criteria is having a colon, or a body cavity. And after an organism has a colon, there are two paths it can go in its embryonic development that help determine its classification. An organism can either be a protozoan or a deuterosome. A protozoan is an organism who develops first from its mouth, while a deuterosome is an organism that develops first from its anus. Due to the fact that the common octopus develops first from its mouth, it's a protozoan, which then leads to go on to be a mollusca. Now this is a taxonomy tree that shows the different levels of classification for the common octopus. The first level, kingdom, is Animalia, followed by phylum Mollusca, followed by class Cephalopodia. Cephalopodia means that the organism's foot developed in the same region as the head. After class is followed by the order Octopodia, which refers to having 8 feet, then the family Octopodia, then the genus Octopus, and finally the species Vulgaris. Now these are close relatives of the common octopus because they are all found in the same phylum, Mollusca. You have the squid, Nautilus, and Nautilus, and the common snail, which are all in the phylum Mollusca. This is an example of a fossil of an octopus. Now this one is about 8 million years old. Fossils of octopus are actually quite rare due to the fact that octopuses don't have any bones. They lack hard parts of their body, which is the hard parts of an organism that are usually the parts that become fossilized and then provide a fossil record. There are certain criteria that must be met in order for any evidence of an octopus who left behind. In this case, it's just an imprint of the octopus. This criteria involves when the octopus dies, lying on a layer of sedimentary rock, and then a younger layer of sedimentary rock would then superimpose itself on the octopus. And under this pressure, as the octopus's carbon body decomposes away, all that's left behind is an imprint, like the one you see here. Now, the geographical distribution of the common octopus. The common octopus is most commonly found in the temperate salt waters of the oceans along the coastlines of the continents. For example, as you can see along the coastline of Asia, Australia, Europe/Africa, and North America. Due to its habitat in the temperate waters of the oceans, the common octopus has a select palate that it eats. For example, this is a food web of the octopus in its marine environment. The octopus eats things such as crabs, seahorses, and even lobsters. Seahorses, of course, can also eat shrimps, and crabs can eat algae/plankton. Of course, octopus can also eat shrimp as well. And the octopus is preyed upon by much larger predators such as humans and even sharks. I will now be talking about two body systems within the common octopus that allow it to maintain homeostasis in its environment. The first one I will be talking about is the circulatory system. Something unique about the common octopus is the fact that unlike most organisms in the phylum Mollusca, which have an open circulatory system, the common octopus has a closed circulatory system. This means that the organism's blood is confined in vessels and veins, and the blood flows with the vessels. The common octopus is also unique due to the fact that it has not one but three hearts, one main, systematic, and two smaller brachial hearts. The two smaller brachial hearts are located near the gills of the octopus, and it's their job to pump the low oxygen concentrated blood through the gills to make them become high oxygen concentrated. The flow of blood goes as such. Low oxygen concentrated blood will come into the vena cava and go down to the brachial heart. The brachial heart would then pump the blood through the gills, and the newly oxygenated blood will then go back up to the systematic heart, which will then pump that high oxygenated blood up through the aorta to the rest of the body. Now, to take a closer look at how the blood becomes oxygenated again, we're going to take a look at the octopus's respiratory system. The octopus has gills made up of bronchial ganglia and fluid lamella. The fluid lamella and bronchial ganglia have a large surface area and a thin membrane. Now, this large surface area and thin membrane allow for a lot of gas exchange between the octopus and the environment. This gas is being exchanged are, of course, carbon dioxide and oxygen gas. Water will flow through the gills as such, and as it passes by, it will come in contact with the low oxygen concentrated blood. Oxygen from the water will diffuse from the water to the low oxygen concentrated blood, making it high concentration. Now, this exchange is facilitated by something known as countercurrent. In countercurrent, the flow of the water goes in one direction while the flow of the blood goes in the opposite. For example, in this case, the water flows from left to right while the blood flows from right to left. Now, this facilitates the diffusion of the oxygen from the high concentration water to the low concentration blood. And of course, after the blood becomes highly oxygenated again, it will go back up to the systematic heart, as previously mentioned, with the circulatory system, and be pumped out to the rest of the body. Now I'll be talking about some fun, interesting facts about the octopus. The first fact I have for you is the fact that, unlike other mammals, octopuses have blue blood. Now, the blue blood is due to the fact that their blood is carbon-based compared to humans whose blood is iron-based, and this is copper-based compared to humans who have blood which is iron-based. And this copper-based blood gives the octopuses their unique blue color. Next fact I have is that 60% of an octopus's neurons aren't located in its brain, but rather in its arms. This allows the arms to have a mind of its own and react to, and have a wider range of sensitivity and react also. Octopuses also eat their own arms when bored. They do this by detaching their tentacles and eating them through a weird form of self-mutilation and cannibalism. Next, octopus can change colors to match their environment, which is a significant advantage in avoiding predators. They do this by the fact that sensory cells and pigmented cells in their skin allow them to copy the environment. As you can see here, an octopus is hiding in the coral reef, and you can slowly see that that's its actual form compared to when it's camouflaged. My final fact is the fact that due to the fact that octopuses are soft flesh, which was previously mentioned, as in they have no hard parts, they can fit through holes much smaller than themselves, as you can see here. And that concludes my presentation.